Okay, now we're going to look at the spectral oscillator in YAVA3. So I'm going to turn down the other oscillators, turn up oscillator 3, which is the spectral oscillator. You will recognise this as the similar oscillator to the one that was in the Exact, the freebie that was released recently. Slight difference with this one is that the red and green sliders that were side by side in Exact and now have got their own separate little areas. To explain what's happening here, basic control down here for octaves. Apart from that, all you have with this oscillator is these two areas of coloured bars, and what you have basically is a series of harmonics, and you have two almost presets of harmonics for the sound, the red presets and the green presets. Now if I play a note, because I haven't applied any modulation, the preset that will take effect will be the green preset, and I can show that by affecting the sliders while I play a note. So let's just put the sustain up a little bit. So quite an obvious effect there in terms of changing the sound. Where this oscillator really comes into its own though is when you modulate using the area down to the bottom left, which is the matrix, the control matrix, because then what you can then do is modulate between the two presets using well, whichever modulation source you choose. Obviously one that immediately springs to mind will be the low frequency oscillator. So you can see that I've got low frequency oscillator here set to a sine wave. I've got it at a relatively slow modulation rate. I've turned off the delay, and I've got it set on a high range. I've allowed there to be high and low ranges on the low frequency oscillators so they can be used more readily for vibrato without having to try and operate at the lowest end of the control. So set it on a high range because we're now going to modulate a control source. And what I'm going to basically do now is set one oscillator to be full of high harmonics, and I'm going to set the other oscillator to be virtually, I think it'll be almost like a sawtooth effect with just the first and the second harmonic showing. Now what I need to do, if I just play the note again, you can see that I've got that sawtooth waveform that I created by adding the first and second harmonics. Now if I come in here and I increase the amount of modulation of LFO1 into the wave control, which is this one here, and you can see that the more that I increase that modulation, the more pronounced that effect becomes. And obviously if I slow that right down, then we get a much more subtle effect. And that's the spectral oscillator.